Sierra Jaugen was a radiant young woman who effortlessly captured the hearts of all who knew her. Her vibrant joy and playful humor made her the luminous center of her social universe. With a spirited and cheeky personality, she brought boundless delight to those around her. Even in moments of misstep, she possessed a unique charm that could easily coax a smile from her mother. As Sierra transitioned into her high school years, her adventurous spirit only flourished. She embraced new challenges with fearless enthusiasm, one of which was her newfound passion for volleyball. On and off the court, her remarkable confidence and ease were truly inspiring. On July 19, 2016, the Jugan family returned from a delightful vacation, eager to unpack and settle back into their routine. Sierra was bubbling with excitement for the upcoming fall semester at the University of Toledo, where she had plans to study abroad. Her mother wished to discuss these aspirations with her, but Sierra, an avid athlete, had recently acquired a new bike that she was eager to ride. Dressed charmingly in shorts and a tank top, with her hair stylishly pulled back in a ponytail, she informed her mother of her intention to visit her boyfriend, Josh, who lived 7.2 miles away. Her mother acknowledged her plans, assuring her that they would reconnect later. As the hours passed, Josh grew increasingly concerned and reached out to Sierra's home, having been unable to contact her as her phone went straight to voicemail. When he inquired about Sierra's whereabouts, her mother informed him that she was not at home. Josh revealed that Sierra had left his house shortly before 7 p.m. and had not been heard from since. Instinctively, Sierra's mother felt a wave of unease. Her daughter was always prompt in her communications. She quickly decided to contact Sierra's grandparents, who lived nearby, only to learn from Sierra's grandmother that she was not with them either. Concerned for Sierra's safety, her family, along with Josh, initiated a fervent search to locate her. Without hesitation, Sierra's mother swiftly entered her vehicle, resolute in her mission to explore every conceivable area. With an unwavering sense of urgency, she meticulously scrutinized every corner and crevice, including the roadside. Meanwhile, Sierra's aunt, joined by her husband and son, also participated in the search, harboring fears that Sierra may have suffered an accident, potentially struck by a car. As the hours ticked by, their anxiety deepened. The haunting possibility of Sierra being injured, perhaps with a fractured leg, loomed heavily over them. Despite their relentless efforts and thorough search, no trace of Sierra could be found. Upon returning home, Sierra's mother immediately turned to social media, reaching out to her daughter's friends in a desperate plea for any information. Unfortunately, her efforts yielded no responses. As time dragged on with no sign of Sierra, her mother realized that every moment counted and promptly contacted the police. Just an hour later, a worried neighbor alerted Sierra's family that County Road 6 had been cordoned off. With hearts pounding, they hurried from their home to uncover the situation, only to be met by a scene of chaos, surrounded by officers who barred their way. The police were unable to provide any details regarding Sierra, plunging her mother into a state of panic as she feared the worst. In their quest for answers, the local police sought the expertise of the Federal Bureau of Investigation, assuring Sierra's family that they would relay any information as soon as it became available. Understandably, the family found it impossible to rest, their minds racing with thoughts of what actions to take next. The following day, Sierra's mother and aunt resolved to take charge of the situation, refusing to wait any longer for answers. Her mother commenced a frantic series of calls to hospitals, fervently seeking any trace of an unidentified young woman. Each call yielded nothing, deepening their despair. Yet a flicker of hope ignited when a lead emerged from Detroit, Michigan. Reports surfaced of a young woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to Sierra, admitted to a hospital without identification after escaping from a moving vehicle. The injuries she sustained were grave, with multiple fractures. In a bid to ascertain her identity, a nurse requested Sierra's family to identify distinguishing marks on her body. Sierra's mother recalled a scar on her calf and a pierced belly button. The girl in the hospital appeared to align with Sierra's description, rekindling the family's hopes of finally locating her. Alas, their optimism was soon shattered upon learning that the girl was not Sierra. The revelation was a crushing blow, as they had invested so much hope in this possibility. Later that morning, the police visited Sierra's home to provide an update on the previous night's events. An officer had discovered a disturbed cornfield nearby. As he parked and approached the area, he observed signs of a struggle. He also found a motorcycle track and chose to withdraw without compromising any potential evidence. During his retreat, he caught sight of a reflection, which turned out to be Sierra's purple bicycle. Further investigation by the police uncovered several items at the scene, including a pair of male sunglasses, a pair of female sunglasses, a bloody sock, and a screwdriver. Based on these discoveries, the police surmised that Sierra had been abducted from that very location. Throughout the investigation, detectives meticulously interrogated Sierra's friends and family to gather insights about her boyfriend, Josh. The detectives, through their meticulous inquiries, uncovered that Sierra and Josh had forged a deep bond since the tender age of 7. Their friendship evolved into a romantic entanglement during their inaugural year of high school, earning them a reputation as a lively and spirited couple. Among their shared interests was a passion for skiing, which they indulged in frequently on the slopes. As their high school journey concluded, Sierra pursued her studies at the University of Toledo, while Josh chose Bowling Green for his academic endeavors. Despite the physical distance that separated them, their devotion remained unwavering, often engaging in discussions about a future together. Yet, Sierra articulated her wish to focus on her education before embarking on the journey of marriage, underscoring her commitment to her academic pursuits. Nevertheless, their relationship retained its seriousness as they navigated the complexities of a long-distance romance. During the investigation, detectives learned that Sierra had visited Josh's residence in the early afternoon of July 19th. Reports indicated that she intended to leave his home around 6:30 p.m. Concerned for her well-being, Josh accompanied Sierra on her return journey, riding alongside her on his motorcycle. After covering a few miles, Sierra asserted her independence, requesting that Josh turn back and allow her to ride home alone. With some reluctance, Josh complied, and they parted ways, he retracing his path on the motorcycle while Sierra continued on her bike. As the investigation unfolded, detectives discovered motorcycle tracks imprinted in the corn stalks adjacent to Sierra's bicycle. This intriguing evidence prompted questions regarding the ownership of the tracks, leading detectives to delve deeper into the potential connection between Josh and the scene. In response, they swiftly established a command post to collect any pertinent clues regarding Sierra's mysterious disappearance, and it wasn't long before a promising lead emerged. On July 14th, a resident came forward with a compelling account of his day. While navigating the roads, he stumbled upon a motorcycle helmet abandoned at the roadside. Curiosity piqued, he instructed his son to retrieve the helmet and place it in their truck. However, upon learning about the troubling situation involving Sierra, he felt compelled to examine the helmet more thoroughly. To his astonishment, he discovered red stains on its surface, which he suspected to be blood. This helmet was located in proximity to where Sierra's motorcycle had been found, in the cornfield. Detectives soon approached Josh to inquire about the helmet's origins. To their relief, he confirmed that he had indeed kept the helmet in his possession. Additionally, they verified that Josh had returned home after speaking with his parents, providing him with a solid alibi that excluded him from suspicion in the case. Although visibly shaken, Josh was never regarded by Sierra's family as a potential culprit in her disappearance. The detectives were resolute in their mission to trace the owner of the blood-stained helmet discovered by the roadside. Acknowledging the critical role of DNA evidence, they promptly sent the helmet to the crime lab for analysis. As anticipation mounted, the detectives awaited the results, hopeful for a significant breakthrough in their investigation. In the meantime, news of Sierra's disappearance reverberated throughout the town, prompting the community to unite in search efforts. Concerned citizens banded together, forming search parties that meticulously scoured every conceivable area in hopes of uncovering any clues that might lead to her whereabouts. A profound sense of solidarity enveloped the townspeople as they dedicated themselves to the mission of bringing Sierra home safely. In addition to the search initiatives, the community organized a poignant candlelight vigil for Sierra at the local high school. The atmosphere was charged with a blend of sorrow, hope, and unwavering determination. Hundreds gathered, their flickering candles illuminating the night as they offered their thoughts and prayers for Sierra's safe return. 2 days into the inquiry surrounding Sierra's mysterious disappearance, law enforcement received an intriguing tip concerning a van that had been observed racing through the vicinity. Speculations arose that Sierra may have been abducted in this very vehicle, potentially falling victim to the harrowing world of sex trafficking. The informant graciously provided the authorities with a license plate number linked to the van. Pursuing this lead, the police engaged in a dialogue with the van's owner. It soon became evident that the van's rapid departure was unrelated to Sierra's case. The owner recounted that he had been startled by another vehicle that had suddenly approached from behind, presumably a family member searching for Sierra, prompting him to accelerate instinctively, thus creating a false impression of his involvement in the troubling situation. As the investigation reached the 48-hour mark, no substantial leads had surfaced in the quest for Sierra. Her family found it increasingly arduous to sustain their hope. With each passing day, the likelihood of discovering her alive diminished further. Despite their unwavering efforts to remain positive, the stark reality of their circumstances became increasingly difficult to overlook. The police undertook a meticulous door-to-door search in their relentless pursuit of Sierra. Ultimately, their investigation directed them to a farm situated not far from the location where Sierra's bicycle had been found. This expansive property encompassed an acre and featured several structures, including a quaint house, a trailer, and a sizable barn. The proprietor of this estate was identified as James Worley. Upon their arrival at the farm, the police initiated a conversation with Mr. Worley, inquiring about the events of the day Sierra vanished, hoping to unearth any pertinent information he might possess. To their astonishment, James revealed that he had been out riding his motorcycle on the day in question. However, a mechanical failure had caused him to lose several items along his route, including a screwdriver and his helmet. The detectives were left in a state of disbelief upon this startling revelation, as the very items in question had been discovered at the site of Sierra's abduction. James's unintentional presence at the crime's inception raised alarming concerns for the investigators. The increasingly dubious link between James and the missing Sierra compelled the police to intensify their inquiry. During their interrogation of James Worley, a detail caught their eye: scratches adorning his face. It was clear he had been embroiled in a struggle, amplifying their suspicions and prompting further inquiries. The detectives pondered whether these marks were the aftermath of a confrontation with Sierra. After concluding their questioning of James Worley regarding Sierra's mysterious disappearance, the detectives returned to the precinct, eager to perform a thorough background check on him in hopes of revealing pertinent details. What they unearthed sent shivers down their spines. James Worley possessed a sinister criminal past, including a prior attempt to abduct a young woman 26 years prior, on July 4, 1989. On that fateful day, Robin Gardner, then 26, was preparing for a neighborhood picnic while her mother busied herself with potato salad preparations. Seeking a brief respite, Robin decided to take a bike ride before the festivities. Unfortunately, she had neglected to bring water, and the sweltering heat was becoming unbearable. As she contemplated returning home to quench her thirst, the sound of an approaching vehicle caught her attention. Assuming the car would simply pass by, she planned to head back. However, before she could react, the vehicle struck her bike, sending her tumbling into a nearby ditch. Dazed and confused, Robin could hear the driver exiting the vehicle. The driver, sensing something amiss, approached Robin with concern, inquiring about her well-being as he sought to understand the unfolding situation. However, the atmosphere shifted dramatically into a nightmare. Out of nowhere, the individual responsible for the collision revealed his malevolent intentions. In a shocking act, he struck Robin violently on the back of her head. Confusion enveloped her as the assailant brandished a screwdriver against her throat, issuing a chilling threat to her life. With a menacing command, he ordered her to rise and enter his vehicle without delay. The man, with the sharp tool pressed menacingly against her neck, forced her into the confines of his car. Inside, he attempted to restrain her with handcuffs. Although he managed to secure one cuff around her wrist, Robin fought back with fierce determination, thwarting his efforts to fasten the other. Her screams pierced the stillness of the desolate cornfields, yet no one was there to heed her cries. Despite teetering on the brink of unconsciousness from her relentless struggle, Robin refused to yield. Suddenly, amidst the oppressive silence, a distant sound caught her attention. Straining her vision, she spotted a motorcycle approaching the man's vehicle. Recognizing this as her potential escape, she began waving her arms in a desperate attempt to attract the rider's notice. Fortunately, the motorcyclist observed her plight and swiftly brought the bike to a stop. In a frantic appeal for assistance, Robin conveyed the gravity of her situation, explaining that the man intended to take her life. Seizing the moment, she swiftly mounted the motorcycle, leaving her captor and the car behind. The motorcyclist whisked her away to safety, where she collapsed upon arrival at her home. Robin's mother immediately contacted the police and an ambulance, ensuring that Robin received urgent medical care. Meanwhile, the determined motorcyclist guided the authorities back to the scene, where they were astonished to find James Worley still lingering with his vehicle. James, when interrogated, exhibited complete cooperation, presenting identification to validate his identity. Nevertheless, his narrative regarding the incident diverged markedly from initial assumptions. He firmly rejected any notion of intending to abduct Robin. In his recounting, he described Robin as riding her bicycle in a reckless manner, veering into the roadway, which left him with no option but to collide with her. James asserted that following the accident, Robin was in a state of panic, prompting him to use handcuffs, not as a means of harm, but to secure her to the steering wheel of his truck while he sought assistance. He maintained that his actions stemmed from a sincere concern for her safety. In 1989, James Worley was apprehended for attempting to abduct Robin and was subsequently convicted of the crime, receiving a sentence of 6 to 10 years in the state prison of Mansfield, Ohio. Due to his exemplary behavior, he was released after 3 years. The news of his release instilled a profound fear in Robin, as the possibility of James reoffending loomed ominously in her thoughts. Armed with knowledge of his criminal history, the police resolved to visit his residence. With a search warrant in hand, they arrived and commenced their investigation. Upon examining the home he shared with his mother, they found nothing amiss. However, their focus soon shifted to the expansive backyard. As they meticulously explored the vast outdoor area, the officers discovered a barn discreetly positioned in the corner. Intrigued, they approached the structure with caution. Inside, they encountered stacks of hay bales. The police conducted a thorough inspection of the barn, diligently searching for any evidence that might connect James to Sierra's disappearance. Every corner was scrutinized, and each bale of hay was examined in hopes of revealing hidden items or clues. As the detectives meticulously extracted the bales of hay from James Worley's barn, their attention was drawn to a small green crate nestled in the shadows of the corner. With cautious steps, they approached and opened the box, unveiling its unsettling contents. Inside, they found an assortment of neatly labeled and sealed plastic Ziploc bags containing underwear, stockings, and tube tops. Their hearts raced as they uncovered a pair of purple panties marred by what appeared to be bloodstains. A chilling sense of foreboding enveloped them as they pondered the grim revelations that awaited them in their exploration of James Worley's barn. Their investigation took a pivotal turn when they spotted a piece of plywood lying on the ground. Recognizing its potential importance, they carefully lifted it, uncovering a small cubic-foot freezer concealed beneath the hay. Upon opening the freezer, they were met with a nauseating stench, a potent chemical odor reminiscent of bleach that heightened their suspicions. As they delved deeper into the barn, they stumbled upon other disquieting items partially obscured by the hay bales. Among these was an air mattress, stained in a manner that suggested a sinister history. The presence of zip ties, duct tape, handcuffs, and keys only intensified their unease, as these items were all too familiar, indicative of abductions and other malevolent acts. Determined to uncover the truth, the detectives resolved to submit all items retrieved from the property for DNA analysis. In a desperate attempt to defend himself, Worley claimed that the items were part of a pornographic venture he intended to launch. Yet the overwhelming weight of the evidence against him proved insurmountable. The disturbing findings at the crime scene, coupled with the incriminating nature of the collected items, culminated in James's arrest for the murder of Sierra. The revelation left Sierra's family in profound shock, grappling with the horrifying realization that her abductor was a man residing miles away from her home. This startling revelation ignited a whirlwind of inquiries within their minds. Yet the most urgent question lingered above all. Where was she? The detectives initiated an exhaustive examination of James's estate, leaving no detail overlooked. They meticulously scrutinized every corner of the property, ensuring a thorough investigation. To enhance their efforts, they enlisted the help of cadaver dogs, trained to detect any possible remains. During their search, the detectives stumbled upon a pond nestled within the grounds. Acknowledging its potential importance, they proceeded to drain the water, eager to reveal any concealed evidence lurking beneath the surface. Their diligence did not end there. They also inspected the insulation at the front of the attic. As the investigation unfolded, the detectives broadened their scope to include adjacent properties, aware that crucial evidence might lie beyond the confines of James's land. They pursued every lead with unwavering determination. A call came in from a farmer who, while traversing his expansive field, noticed an unusual patch of corn that appeared flattened. Intrigued, he approached the area and discovered a mound of dirt nearby. Alarm bells rang in his mind, suggesting it could be a potential grave. Given the recent developments in the search for Sierra, his apprehension grew. Without hesitation, he contacted the police, relaying his concerns and the precise location of his discovery. Responding swiftly to the farmer's urgent call, the police arrived on the scene. Their trained eyes quickly identified a fresh pile of dirt, intensifying their suspicions that it might indeed be a grave. Taking the matter with utmost seriousness, they began to process the area meticulously, ensuring that no potential evidence was disturbed. Every inch of the site was scrutinized as the officers sought to uncover vital clues regarding Sierra's whereabouts. However, despite their exhaustive efforts, the search yielded no conclusive results. The detectives embarked on a meticulous search of the neighboring farms in pursuit of Sierra. Employing drones and helicopters, they expanded their reach, enhancing the likelihood of finding her. During their extensive search, they stumbled upon a disturbed patch of earth, where the corn lay freshly matted. The trained canines signaled the presence of decomposition, hinting at a possible crime scene. As the crime scene investigators began to excavate, the police unearthed a grim revelation: human remains. The evidence strongly suggested that these remains belonged to Sierra. Tragically, her hands were bound behind her, and her feet were secured to the handcuffs. A further examination uncovered an object lodged in her mouth, obstructing her airway. It was concluded that she had been unable to breathe, which ultimately led to her demise. Later that evening, the Sierra family received the heart-wrenching call they had feared. The police had located Sierra's lifeless form. This devastating news struck them like a thunderbolt, resulting in an outpouring of grief as each family member succumbed to tears. The weight of this moment was unbearable, and the sorrow enveloping the family was tangible. 1 month following the tragic abduction and murder of Sierra, James Worley faced indictment on 19 charges, including kidnapping and aggravated murder. 2 years later, he stood trial for his alleged offenses. Despite the mountain of evidence stacked against him, he maintained a plea of not guilty to all allegations. Over the course of 8 gripping days, the state unfolded a harrowing narrative that captivated both the jury and onlookers. After 6 hours of deliberation, the jury reached a verdict in the case of James Worley. Following a thorough examination of the evidence, he was found guilty on all counts pertaining to Sierra's murder. The gravity of his crimes culminated in a death sentence being handed down to James Worley.